So here's a little thing of interest for those of you who are not familiar with the way things are being done in the Philippines. This actually is a survey. It's a survey, what can I call it? It's a survey concrete pole that's put in the ground, and it gives you something that should not be moved. People do move these things, we've heard of it, but it shouldn't be moved. And here we are. So this pole here is containing the wire, and what we're doing is we're coming to a point. Probably BB is also standing on another one of these things that gives us our boundary, and on that side is property that we are taking care of, and over on this side is someone else's. So just a little point of interest. That's how they show it. But what I have seen is that like Rado, when Rado has wanted to mark a point, he actually plants a tree there. And then years later, when we've been looking at properties that we were just making the videos of with Marivic, Marivic was selling them, and she was struggling. We decided we'd help by making human interest stories about what she was doing. So that's how we got involved there, and we found that very often the property lines were marked by certain trees, and the people involved all knew, oh yes, that tree, and so from this tree to that tree, and they tie a shopping bag, a plastic bag around it, white, and say, yeah, that little white patch is it. But up there you can actually see what I was talking about a few minutes ago on the other video, and that is a whole kind of little settlement on the top there, and they would be in danger of we would be in danger of them encroaching on this property. So that's what a lot of this work is for. And here's BB, beautiful BB. I keep telling BB that I need to get some ugly pills for her because she's getting to be too beautiful. And of course she's not even listening now, is she? We actually have, we're booking a bulldozer, front loader they call them here. I call them bulldozers. Anyway, it has a huge shovel-like thing at the front which will scoop away and scrape at the land, and it will take out the bad stumps. Now walking, for me, walking in this on this kind of land is really quite fraught with the danger of a fall, because these stumps are everywhere. They've been chopped down in the past, and then they only chop it down to the stump, and then things get left behind. So it can be quite a risk, especially for me, an old fart, and I take great care in wherever I walk. But I've still taken a few spills. See, look here. So now it's not much, but if this is buried in some of the deeper foliage and droppings, then that, if it's down in between that and you're treading on that, very easy to take a fall. And this is a stump of an old coconut tree. Then you've got these others here, look. So the clearing of the land is something that has to be done brutally. Here we are at the front, where this will be dressed quite nicely, and there'll be a flat top, a cap put on that, and then above that will be metal. So you can see a lot of stuff to be cleared, which wouldn't be possible to clear it by hand. It needs to have some heavy machinery in there. That's what it needs. So we're getting on. We have BB down here to make sure that everybody does their work. Is that what you do, BB? Do you make sure that everybody's doing their work?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I look at her.
You look at them?
Yeah.
Ooh. I think getting a look from BB would be such a terrible thing. Don't they just fall in love with you? Beth?
Yeah.
Honey, BB says that all she has to do to get these workers to do their work very hard is just to look at them.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, BB?
Yeah.
So, how do they know why you're looking? Are you coming home with us, or are you staying to do your looking?
Oh. I'll go.
You'll go?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Now Kevin from Pukeko in New Zealand will be very happy to see that the cement mixer is being used. Finally the workers have embraced the idea of having a cement mixer instead of mixing by hand, and they're in the process of doing that right now. Now whether the mix is the same as people in the West, that would be another thing. And whether the technique is the same, of course, the answer would have to be no, it's not. I'm not a bricklayer personally, and so I'm not criticizing from any altitude. But anyway, it's what gets done here, and usually they don't butter the verticals. If you look at this, the verticals are dry. Occasionally you'll get one that, because the gap's worked out that way, they'll fill that one the same as that one there. Now I remember a well-intentioned man who was a mason, well-trained from the UK, where they in the old days they would undergo training. They would do what was called an apprenticeship, and they would go and they'd have somebody who was ruthless in his expectations of what should be done would train them how to do this job, and they'd have to learn to do it right, and they'd know what they were doing, why they were doing. But here everybody is trained on the job, and they learn by experience, and they work in pretty rough conditions as well, without complaint and with a smile. Now Kevin, just for your benefit, you'll notice that we're going through the process now of making sure that the cement mixer is bedded in its own produce. So the wheels actually get bedded up to the axle and left that way until they break them out when we move for the job. Now I know that somebody is going to say, shouldn't you have a wheelbarrow? Can you really see someone with a wheelbarrow down here going in the way that that young man has gone with his handled bucket? Well, that was somebody else's truck that just passed with a clinking noise, which I fear may indicate a bill to come. But anyway, we have our own fashion show. There's Taliklik and comical, beautiful BB. See, no buttering the verticals. Okay, enough from me.